Welcome to Keeping Athena Company.
Woo.
My name is Athena Convenue. I'm a stand-up comedian, writer, podcaster, because I've done loads of these now, and a mum, and being a mum is great, but the child doesn't speak. So for adult conversation, she doesn't speak. Well, she speaks, but she goes... Or she's got a new annoying noise, which is... It's a real noise she does. It's really annoying. So to get away from that noise and to reclaim some sanity, I invite a friend around to keep my company. And today I'm joined by the Lavicious. Is that a word? I think it is a word. It sounds like a word that should describe you. Sounds saucy, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
That would be my burlesque name, Lavicious Athena.
Okay.
It's probably me.
Maybe, yeah, it'd have to be like Lavicious Locks or something. Or
Right,
Lavicious...
yeah. I don't know. But like, I'm going to find out what Lavicious means and it'll be something awful. It sounds saucy. Carmen Ali. Woo! There's no one to applaud apart from my child. So we're back to extreme
I
podcast.
applaud myself.
Yeah, we're back to extreme podcasting. The child's on my lap because no one's around to look after the child. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah? Tell me about your week.
So I've started doing burlesque again.
Okay, so let's go back again. So it means you did it for a while.
Yeah, so I did burlesque from 2008, 2011.
Actually, let's take it back to basics. What's burlesque?
So burlesque is an art form. It comes from a word which means to parody.
I didn't know that. Okay,
So
is
I
that
think
a French
it's
word?
an Italian word.
Oh, Italian.
Actually, I think
Okay.
people think that it's French, but I'm probably not the best person to do the history of it, but it's quite an old art form, and it started with kind of little parody plays and that sort of thing, but then sometimes the women would lose their clothes and then people would think that was sexy, and then it kind of developed into more of a showgirl thing.
Could you imagine the first time someone just thought, I'm taking all my clothes off?
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't around in the 1800s, so I don't know exactly what happened, but and I should probably read more about it, but it's got lots of different roots.
Yeah.
And essentially, that's what it means. But a lot of people think that burlesque just means striptease.
Yeah.
But striptease is just one part of burlesque and one of the tools that you can use during burlesque. But it's not the only one.
Okay, well, I've learnt something already. We've only been going for like a minute. So you used to do it. So you started burlesque in the past.
Yeah.
And how did you start?
I just went to a class once, and then there was an opportunity to perform at a show.
Okay.
This was like years ago. This was like 2007 or 2008. So I did it for a few years. I did a few shows and stuff. But then I started doing stand-up.
Right.
And then the stand-up kind of just took over.
Okay.
And I gave up the burlesque. And I think it was kind of because I didn't really know what I wanted to say with the burlesque at that point, and what it was really...
I know what you mean, because what I understand of burlesque performers is that they have personas and personalities. I only know the really famous ones, and I've forgotten her name. Who's the Josephine Baker, for example, is like the famous Parisian sort of black burlesque dancer. And
there's a performer right now called Demi Noir who does a homage to Josephine Baker, and she does a dance with her outfit and like the yellow outfit and the bananas and all that kind of stuff. It's really good.
So because I'm so ignorant, I've been introduced to burlesque like at several points in my life, and I went to a burlesque night with a friend years ago, and I didn't know who Josephine Baker was. And someone came out, and it may be the same person, even though this was a few years ago.
Yeah, no, I think she's been doing the act for a while.
Oh, okay, yeah. And she came out with this like banana dress on.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is really like offensive, because I didn't understand the history.
Okay.
And I thought I would wear imagine seeing a black person just with a banana outfit on. You'd be like, is this a joke? And it was only then it was explained to me, and I was really embarrassed.
Yeah. So
you recently, what made you go back to it?
So I started working for a burlesque company. Just doing some PA stuff and some stage management stuff, and then I decided that I wanted to start performing again as well.
Brilliant. So what's your burlesque name?
My burlesque name is April Fiasco.
April Fiasco. Is there a story behind that name?
Yes, because I was born in April. My life is a fucking fiasco.
Okay, let's talk a bit more about burlesque, and we'll talk about the fiasco that's your life, the chaos that's your life. You don't look very chaotic right now. You look very well put together. In fact, I look chaotic.
It's all a facade.
I'm the chaotic one. I'm in my mum's kitchen with a child that won't stand still. Just sit still in my house.
She doesn't understand that we're doing a podcast. Babies are like, what's this podcast thing that everyone's so into?
So April Fiasco.
Yeah.
And what's April Fiasco's personality?
She's quite like fun and all about hedonism.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Quite, yeah.
Anything different to you?
Your burlesque persona is kind of more like a more enhanced version of yourself.
Oh, right,
so
okay.
you kind of just like take the bits from yourself that you want to accentuate.
Yeah.
Like personality-wise and body-wise and all that kind of stuff. So my burlesque act is, I come on stage and I notice that there's a cake on stage. And I'm like, oh, I'm really tempted by the cake. But then I'm like, no, I shouldn't eat the cake. It's bad. Which is kind of like a comment on like how as women where sometimes you want to go on a diet and like lose weight and you feel guilty about eating food that's supposed to be bad for you.
Right,
all
exactly.
that kind of stuff. But also it's just cake's great, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm like tempted by this cake and then I'm punishing the cake for tempting me.
I love the concept. You're punishing the cake.
Yeah.
How do you punish the cake?
With my riding crop.
Well, of course, you give it a good spanking.
Yeah, spank
so
the
you
cake.
basically, April Fiasco comes out, is tempted by the cake.
Yeah.
This is like Adam and Eve, but retold in burlesque, isn't
Yeah,
it? This is what we should have done to the
think of
snake.
that.
Yeah, we should have just whipped that snake and stayed naked in the garden. So,
Yeah.
okay, you're spanking a cake.
Spank the cake and
Yeah.
then...
How big's this cake?
It's like a, like a birthday cake kind of size. Like,
Okay.
Yeah, like a
it's
cake.
not, what kind of cake is it? Is it particular? Because if it was a cheesecake, man, I would. If you spanked that, that would turn me on because I like cheesecake.
Oh,
I like the idea of punishing cheesecake.
Okay, well, when you come and watch me, I'll
Yeah.
be sure to get a cheesecake. But usually I get a cake that has quite a bit of icing on the top so that when I eventually give in and eat the cake, it's got lots of icing and then
Lots of cream, it's
cake,
messy.
yeah.
You're making a real mess.
And then, so then me and the cake fall in love. We have a love story together.
Yeah.
We go stargazing together. We have a little date. And then the cake is like whispering something to me. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe the cake wants me to do that. And then I take off my skirt and then I sit on the cake. And then I basically fuck the cake.
I'm dying to... So there's lots to get into here. First of all, you're having sex with the cake. Okay. So
Yeah.
you're burning calories with the cake as opposed to taking the calories on.
That's true. It
That's
all equals out.
Yeah. I like that because it's almost a twist. People are thinking, oh, she's going to eat it. And it's like, no, she's just put it in her vagina. That's a twist.
Well, there's a whole kind of side section of the internet where people are into cake sitting and all that kind of stuff.
There's everything.
It's like a full on fetish.
Yeah.
And it's really fun and like people watch it and they're like, oh, that's really sexy. Like that's really hot that you're like jumping up and down this cake. I'm like basically twerking on the cake. It's like
yeah, but also I love metaphorically what it says about all the things like you mentioned.
Yeah, it's got
the pressure we're under to feel guilty about eating and like sexual. It's like a metaphor for sexual desire.
Yeah,
you know, like we're supposed to feel guilty for being sexual people, and then it's like no, we're not going to feel guilty.
Yeah.
In fact, we're going to just ride the cake.
Fuck the cake.
That's it. You should do a show called Ride the Cake.
Ride the cake.
Yeah, and you should leave little cupcakes and people on the audience's chairs. And
then they all have to sit on the
like a
cake.
big
I mean,
cake
that
riding
would be
orgy.
just so much mess to clean up.
In terms of burlesque artists working today, who do you really enjoy watching?
I really like Lolo Brown. She's
Okay.
really good. So she does a lot of kind of subversive type stuff. So she does this act about Nigella Lawson and she has food involved as well. It's really
Does she ride
really
Nigella Lawson
sexy.
riding the cake?
She does like voiceovers, kind of like drag-esque as
Okay.
well. It's kind of, that's really good.
Is there male drag? Male
So there is
burlesque?
boylesque, yeah.
So it's called boylesque?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There are boylesque performers, but there's not as many of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Change of subject. Nigella Lawson, my problem with her has always been she's a middle class person and she makes the most unhealthy food. It's so vile, the food she makes. She made one dessert and I swear to God she got a liquidizer out and she's put in like 4 Snickers bars and 4 Mars bars and
Ruby Corkscrew as well, sorry.
Oh, that's it, she could
does
one.
an act with a Snickers. Yeah, she kind of comes on and she's Medusa and she's really
is she?
hangry.
Okay.
And then it's because she hasn't had a Snickers. Because I think it's a reference to an advert as well.
Yeah.
There's something like that. And then she like eats the Snickers and then Edith Piaf Non Je ne regrette rien plays and it's fucking amazing. I think I just have a theme with all the acts that I like. It's all food.
It's all food. No, it's great. And what's really interesting is I've only really seen burlesque maybe 3 or 4 times in my whole life and I know a couple of performers. But what I'm getting from this is that it's quite relatable.
Yeah,
I'd watch it and be like, God, I understand.
Yeah.
I want to like a cake or a donut. Donuts are my thing. What was I saying? Yeah, Nigella Lawson. So the Snickers Mars bar thing, whatever it was she made, if a working class person from a council estate had done that, they'd be in the Daily Mail. The pizza, which I think is world famous now. Do you know what a pizza is?
Just a pizza made from meat.
Exactly. I mean, I'd never seen anything like it. It's basically you get mince, and instead of using dough, you use mince as the pizza base.
Honestly, that doesn't sound like great.
And then when she went on trial a few years ago, and her housemaid or whatever her nanny said Nigella's on coke, it's like quite clearly, like this is a person quite clearly coming down off something. You don't need to go in court to tell me that. I find it quite extraordinary, the hypocrisy that surrounds kind of health and diet. You know, middle class people are allowed to have a glass of wine a day, you know, but God forbid we have a can of case either for breakfast.
But it's like also like people are like, oh, you shouldn't give money to homeless people because they're just going to spend it on alcohol. And it's like, what?
They're homeless,
I'm sure someone has a joke that's like, what are we going to spend it on? Aren't we going to spend it on the same thing?
Yeah, oh, that's totally true.
Like,
yeah, and also, if you're homeless and you spend my £2 on like tenants, don't blame you.
Fair enough.
What are you going to do? What are you going to spend it on quinoa? Like, no, don't eat quinoa at your bus stop where you're sleeping. Have a lager.
Did you see on it's on the Metro or something, and there was this woman and she was like drinking out of a champagne glass on the tube or something like that. She was like,
oh, I think
having
so.
a cocktail or something, and everyone took a photo of her. Was like, oh, that's amazing. But then when Diane Abbott said that she drank an M&S drink on the tube,
it was like, all the press was
people were like outraged.
I have a theory. The press know they're doing it. The minute somebody saw that picture of that woman drinking out of a champagne glass, they were like, we want to start a Twitter storm, and we know this happened with Diane Abbott. Yeah. And to be fair, people were quite supportive. Like, the press was slagging her off, but the people were supportive of her. But they knew, okay, let's do this. It's hypocritical. It'll make people angry. And because we now have a place to vent our anger, that place gives these papers coverage. So I said this last week, I want to be less outraged, but it's so hard to let things slide.
Yeah, I kind of don't really tweet about stuff like that anymore. I just I don't know, kind of just don't go down that.
You're right.
Hole.
It's better for your mental health.
I had this thing with someone recently. So one of my friend's husbands, he was basically trying to say that there's no systemic sexism or racism. And I was like, I can't even, what? Like, how would you even think, where do you start? Yeah. That's it.
Right, yeah, so the way I describe it is, you know, like affirmative action, people are like, oh, that's really unfair. People shouldn't have an advantage when it comes to jobs, opportunities. Affirmative action has been practiced for like centuries. It's just benefited white guys, and to be specific, kind of cisgendered straight white guys.
Yeah, and rich as well.
Yeah, so only now you're not benefiting from it. You can see it and you can say it's unfair. Well, was it unfair 50 years ago when it benefited your dad? Or was it unfair 100 years ago when it benefited your dad's dad? Or whatever. And of course, they'll say, well, that's not privilege. You know, Boris Johnson is the epitome of white fucking privilege. The man has failed at everything he's ever done. He's failed. He failed basically as London mayor. He didn't really do anything other than spend money badly. There you go.
And the things that he comes out with as well, like...
straight up racist.
So
he's on record as saying racist things. Yeah. There's nothing...
People get sacked from their TV jobs for saying less than what he said.
I've been done for gross... Actually, when I got done for gross misconduct, I did a lot worse than... I did a lot more and a lot worse than Boris. Oh my gosh, I used to have a bit in my act about it. I kind of said a lot. What I will say is that, first of all, I kept my job. So it was, I had to go on like a proper like trial, a tribunal and everything. But yeah, it was pretty bad. But there were consequences to my actions. Whereas Boris Johnson just gets a slap on the wrist. Yeah. And the reason being that I theorise is that ultimately we're a country which is still 91% white. And he gets away with it because he's probably saying things that the government think, oh, people agree with this.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I hope people don't agree with it, like en masse. But then you look at the election results and, you know, Labour couldn't beat the Conservative government last time, and Trump got voted in, you know, popular vote or not, he still got 63 million votes. I keep banging that drum. 1 in 4 Americans saw the same Trump we saw and they were like, oh, he'll do. It's like, wow.
And it wasn't just like white people who voted for him either.
Yeah, assimilation and indoctrination is real. Okay, so just because you're not white doesn't mean you don't support or enable white supremacy.
Yeah, was socialised into it.
Look, at a really good example is Sajid Javid, who I actually kind of feel sorry for.
Yeah,
doesn't get invited to Trump's dinner, right? No one can explain why. I can.
Yeah.
Because he's not white.
Yeah.
Okay, because he has Muslim heritage, he's Pakistani, and he doesn't get invited, okay? Because he looks a bit like Sadiq Khan, according to Trump.
And Trump probably can't tell the difference.
Yeah, right? Probably, Sadiq Khan works in your cabinet? Yeah, no idea. No, but this is totally true. But when Trump does slags off the four women in America, he famously did it about a week and a half ago, Sarge's suddenly got his mouth. And he's got something to say, but he can't defend himself, right? So he's enabling white supremacy to exclude him from spaces. Oh, he's seen Theresa May's criticise Trump. The mistress has criticised Trump. So now I can do it.
Yeah.
So if we can't rely on people like him to say the truth, then who can we rely on?
Yeah, but it happens a lot with feminism as well. I think sometimes women are the best at throwing other women under the bus.
Oh yeah. I say this a lot. Like, so feminism, when it's not intersectional, it's white feminism. It just plays into the existing structures of society. So if you say the top of kind of modern Western society is controlled by kind of white guys, beneath that and not far beneath that, white women. That's it. So if you're practicing the feminism of people who live right at the top, then it's probably going to be a very exclusive feminism that doesn't benefit everyone. So you don't use Twitter. How do you get...
No, I do. I tweet. I just
okay.
use it for fun rather than arguments.
Oh, okay. That sounds
And
good.
even Facebook, I barely post on Facebook.
I just self-promote on Facebook.
Yeah, I use social media for promotion or a fun thing or to ask for movie recommendations.
Yeah.
But not to have arguments about anything to do with politics, feminism,
that sounds
anything
really
like that.
Especially because for all the arguments we've had on Twitter, nothing has changed ever.
Yeah.
In actual fact, we've never had more democracy in terms of the way we can express ourselves and speak freely, but I don't think we've ever been more kind of populist and right-wing. So if something's going wrong...
I never see someone go, oh, actually, that's a really good point. I'm going to go and rethink my views.
Do you know what they do? Once you have an argument with someone and you give them a good point...
They block you.
They block you. They go, that was a really good point. Fuck this. and they go away. Well, it's just funny because I've changed my mind because of things that people have sent me on social media. I talk a lot about how cooking from scratch is something that people who aren't white have kind of done
for years,
and cooking on a budget is something we've done for years. And it was never because there's a budget, it's just the food we eat is cheap. Lentils are cheap, rice is cheap. And I've always thought that, if you are in a situation where you don't have a lot of money, maybe using food banks, if you did that more, if you're able to and you found the time, that's a way out of poverty. And it's not in that way. You get these food bloggers who are like, you can make dinner out of half a slice of bread and a teaspoon of sugar. It's like, this is good food.
Yeah, but some of those ones where they're like, I ate on £1 a day for a week or something, and I look at the recipes and I'm like, that's really bad. Yeah, if you just got some rice and something, it would actually be way better.
Get an onion and tomato, you can make a stew, and they're eating cardboard. But I had my mind opened about, food culture, and I've inherited that culture.
Yeah.
So it's really easy for me to cook. Literally a chopping board, a knife, any old saucepan, and any energy source I cook. But I've inherited that.
Yeah, not everyone has.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it isn't even a question of do you have the facilities. It's a question of if you've been brought up on a certain diet. And I've realised cooking is a skill because I've seen people who can't cook.
Yeah, me too.
And it's really terrifying for them. And it's almost like learning a language. So I got schooled on that, actually.
Yeah, no, that's
really
fair.
interesting.
I think sometimes you forget that some of your, your culture or the way you've been brought up or the things that you know how to do. Yeah, no, I think it's easy to forget that not everyone's had the same upbringing or the same background or the same skills. Or a lot of people went to uni and just didn't know how to cook anything. And I was like, what? How did you not?
That's how I first learned, you can't cook rice. We're both mixed.
Yeah.
So talk about where you come from.
Oh, so my mum's from Trinidad. She, as far as I know, her grandparents were from different parts of Asia. So they went to the Caribbean a long time ago. And then my dad was white English.
And they met here?
Yeah.
So my mum is Indian, Carmen, from Guyana. So that's what we have in common. That's why you're enjoying your plantain.
Yes.
And they met in London. Do you have brothers and sisters?
No, I was not planned, so.
Well, you're not. Well, I can relate to that. I can relate to your parents. Well, that's the thing I've got in common with your parents. What's it like being an only child? And I ask this because I always say mine might be the first and last.
So I just grew up with my mum.
Yeah.
And I wanted, when I was a kid, I wanted a brother or sister because I could see other people with brothers and sisters. And I was like, Mom, why couldn't you have another baby? And she was like, well,
need a little something
else.
Yeah.
So I don't know any different.
Yeah.
But like, because it was just me and her, it was quite intense.
Yeah.
And like, I think there was a lot of pressure on me from her. So it would have been nice to have like a sibling to take the pressure off a bit.
Well, I don't know, because I've got 2 siblings. Is there more pressure on me? I'm the one that always has to do stuff. If something's broken, I've got to fix it. So it really depends on the dynamic. But yeah, basically, if the boiler breaks, I get called. I'm not a plumber. I don't know what to do. You know,
You're just the most, I don't know,
probably
handy.
The most reliable. It's probably the most reliable person. So let's talk about Trinidad. Have you ever been?
Yeah. So my cousin got married on the beach in Tobago, so I went to Trinidad and Tobago.
When did you go?
2010.
Oh wow! Talk about Trinidad. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Was it your first time?
Yeah, and the food was amazing.
This is
So
the thing.
good.
We are misled in this country about Caribbean food, okay? Because it's mostly Jamaican food that people eat. The food in Trinidad.
It was amazing. We went for sushi as well, and the sushi in Trinidad is the best sushi I've ever had in my life.
I'm not surprised.
And you
because
wouldn't,
the fish, fresh.
but you wouldn't think, oh my god, I'll go to the Caribbean and have sushi.
Yeah.
But
so food culture is a massive thing. So Guyana and Trinidad are really similar countries. I would say like Trinidad's obviously bigger and it's just a little bit more like advanced.
It's very industrial. There's quite a lot of like technical stuff.
Yeah, like Guyana is most of the population left Guyana. It's only got maybe, don't quote me on this, it's only got like 500,000 people, but there's like 5 million Guyanese outside of Guyana. But the food culture is similar to Trinidad because it has a similar Indian population. So like half of Trinidad is Indian.
Yeah.
More than half, I would say 60% of Guyana is Indian. And that's the like, not authentic, but it shows you that kind of that Caribbean cuisine that has merged all of the cultures together.
Yeah.
Because no one who lives in the Caribbean is indigenous. It's all African, Chinese, Indian, and the kind of native Caribbeans, sadly, have a very small impact on the islands because obviously they were, I'm trying to find another word that isn't exterminated, but that's kind of what they did. But the food, oh my gosh, the curries are better than Jamaican curries.
I need to learn my history. So what happened to indigenous people in the Caribbean?
Well, a lot of them died from disease that the Europeans brought over. A lot were killed, and a lot were moved. So in Guyana, they live in the very rural areas, and they live like a really agrarian lifestyle, kind of closer to the rainforest and live off the land, all that stuff. But yeah, mostly died. Like Columbus and his mates just were like,
oh yeah,
this is our land now.
I was reading about him recently because at school you never got taught any of these things, and like apparently like his armies used to like rape people and kill them and he's like hailed as this like great explorer guy, and I'm just like, what the fuck?
He's a mass murderer. As a lot of early European explorers were.
And makes me so mad.
It does, and it's tragic. And it's persistent. Imagine the racism someone practiced in the 17th century is the same racism you'll see today. Isn't that crazy? So it's really prevalent. Why are we talking about this? Food.
I don't know. It just always seems to come back to white supremacy. You know so much about it. I don't know half as much as you do.
The funny thing is my memory's terrible. So what will happen is I'll think about this stuff and then I'll read a book and I'll remember it all again. Then I'll forget it all.
Yeah, it was like the Columbus thing. I just forgot that he went to the Caribbean.
Yeah, he went to the Caribbean. And anyway, let's get back to food. So I feel really passionate about food because having not really been brought up by my dad that much, and my mum, like, she's into Guyana. She's not that into it. She came here for a reason. Food,
well, yeah, I get. So my mum came over when she was 17, so she can cook a bit of like Caribbean stuff, but not as much as some of my family.
Oh right, yeah. So with my mum, that's probably the one thing she took with her. So, you know, the culture, the music, you know, the religion, the accent, she kind of lost all that. But my connection to Guyana and Ghana, where that's from, is through food. That's really important to me. One thing that people don't understand who have Caribbean food in this country is that, like I said, Trinidadian food and Guyanese food is the best. And it's almost like Indians are going to hate me. I think it's a better version of Indian food.
Oh, yeah, I do prefer, like, Trinidadian curry to Indian curry.
Massively. Rotis, Caribbean rotis are better than straight-up Indian ones. Yeah. It's just how it is.
Better than naan bread.
Yeah. And any Indians out there disagree with me, fight me. Fight me for all, like... So do you have Polari?
I don't know. What is it? And then I'll see what...
So it's very similar to bhajis. But it's Polari. It's like a savoury fritters made out of chickpea flour.
No, but that sounds amazing.
You would have had Polari at some point in your life, or your mum will know it for sure.
I'll ask her.
Polaris are an example of how things are done better in like the Caribbean Indian way, because like bargees are like kind of rubbery and dry.
Oh, I don't eat bargees at all.
They've got like big bits of onion.
Yeah, I don't like big bits of onion and things. Like,
I wish I'd made Polari for you today.
Do you know what? I think you might have made it once when I was here for your baby shower.
Possibly, yeah.
So I might have actually eaten it. You had a lot of things, and I ate a lot of it because it was fucking amazing.
We ran out of food. It was really. That
was me. Shit. That was my fault.
Right. So, can we talk about love life?
Yeah.
Can we? Because you're a fun person to work with. So you have a boyfriend.
Yeah. We went to flying trapeze class the other week.
Okay.
Like a couple of months ago. Yeah, that was really fun.
Why did you choose flying trapeze?
Because I've done it before a long time ago and I loved it.
Yeah.
And I thought he would think it was fun. Yeah.
Okay. So that sounds like a date thing.
He was a bit... he's a bit more scared of heights than I am, but he actually really got into it in the end.
When I think about you and trapezes, I just think about some setup you've got in your bedroom. You're really sex positive.
Yeah, but weirdly, I actually don't think I'm that into sex, which is probably like a shock to most people.
It's a shock to me. Just to bring everyone up to speed, if they don't know already, I don't know if you still do
I have a sex blog, but I haven't written
blog
on it recently.
So... your sex blog makes me feel incredibly inexperienced, and I always thought, like, I've lived. Oh no, I haven't lived.
I think, like, I've just realised recently, like, kind of again that I'm more into kink than sex. Like,
okay. What's the difference between kink and sex?
So sex, as in like people just getting naked with their genitals and doing all that stuff.
Yeah,
is kind of like not really bothered. Like it's so boring to me.
We've been doing that for so long.
Yeah, and I think it's fine if that's what does it for you. Like I don't want to vanilla shame anyone.
Is vanilla shaming?
Well, yeah, because you call it vanilla sex. So
wow, okay.
But you would say kink shame if you were shaming someone for their kink. So yeah, I don't think that's not valid. I think if that's what you like, that's awesome. And you should totally do that. I just don't think that it actually turns me on.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So what is a kink? Can you define it?
Oh, fuck.
Define it to me. Because I might have a kink, but I won't know because I know what a kink is.
I guess it's like a thing that's not stereotypically sexual.
Yeah.
That turns you on. So
okay.
It could be like an object. I think kink and fetish are kind of interchangeable, but they mean slightly different things. So if people want to Google this later. But like a kink might be like you had a kink for spanking or for stockings or for like having sex outside or like...
Yeah,
does that make sense?
I understand.
It's like something that's a bit more...
like if sex is like... if sex is like vanilla, like just two naked people having sex.
Yeah.
Kink is like apparatus.
Yeah. So kink is like the strawberry sauce on top.
Right,
yeah.
Like, what kind of sauce do you want? Okay, so for example, cake.
Yeah, so like sploshing is a kink, yeah.
What's that called?
Sploshing.
Sploshing? What's
yeah.
sploshing?
It's when you do stuff with like food or mess or like...
So like eating food off of someone's body.
Or like covering each other in food.
I definitely see... I don't... Because I'm not OCD, but I like things to be clean.
Maybe it's not for you.
Yeah, it's not for me. If it was food, it would have to be stuff you could vacuum, like crisps.
Oh my god, that would be so funny. Someone needs to do like a parody, like sketch of like two people who are going to try sploshing, and then you're like, I've got some crisps, I've got some rice cakes, I've got some crackers.
Yeah. Now pick up the Smarties, and when they're finished, they just like get the Dyson out.
And the other person's there with the cake and just like, oh, okay, I guess I'll put this away then.
that would be me. When you spend your life picking up after a baby, you don't want to do it in the bedroom.
Fair enough.
Although it looks like, it's funny, it looks like I've been sploshing in this house half the time.
Yeah.
And so I want to talk more about this blog. You used to talk about encounters you had with people. Did you tell them you were going to blog about them?
I think if it was like ones that I wasn't going to see again, I didn't tell them. And I try not to write like their like too many personal details about them and stuff. Yeah. I did use one first name once because it fitted with the thing. It was called Hit the Road Jack. And then months later, he said that he was really annoyed that I'd used his name. Okay. And I was like, oh, I'm really sorry. Like I didn't really think because we're not on social media together, so no one would have been able to like find out who you were. And I don't even know your last name. And it was kind of like funny for the name of the piece.
Yeah.
So yeah, that kind of taught me that I need to be a bit more considerate sometimes with other people's privacy. So yeah, now I try and be a bit more considerate, and I try and ask people if they want to be written about. But I do have a disclaimer now on my blog that says if there's something that's written about you and you want to talk about it or you want me to change it, send me an email. So apart from that, I've not had anyone say that they weren't okay with it.
Okay, that's good. I like how honest you are about like what's happening, like, and what's happening and why it's happening. I think it's quite good because some people be like, oh, I am into sitting on cakes, but they think it's weird, so they don't talk about it or express themselves freely. And then you come along and it's on your blog. What's...
Yeah, I've had a lot of people message me and be like, it's really nice to read something so open. Yeah, that's good.
Have you ever thought about, like, I don't know, I think it'd make a really good book, like a Bridget
I've
Jones.
started writing a book.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I'm really pleased. Do you want to talk about it?
I mean, I've started doing quite a lot of things that I've not been working on. So
but the best thing to do is talk about it, because that way you're more inclined to kind of take it forward because you said it now.
Yeah, so I would probably have some of the stories from the blog and then some other exclusive stories that have not been on the blog.
Right. So it's kind of autobiographical.
Yeah, it would be autobiographical.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's obviously it's not a kid's book, which everyone seems to be doing now.
No.
It's for adults, and it's just about
for 18 plus.
Carmen's life in sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I use sex as a loose umbrella term.
Yeah.
Because
there's kink.
As I've just said, that I don't really actually like sex that much.
Which is really good. No, it's really... I think a lot of people don't like sex, okay? And what they do is they force themselves.
Yeah, I just thought that
I
like because everyone else liked it, that I must like it.
Yeah.
And I like... That's not to say I don't ever enjoy like some bits that are stereotypically normal sex or whatever.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't turn me on as much. And like, yeah, does that make sense?
No, it makes total sense.
And I feel like I was fucking all these people because maybe I was looking for
you're like, oh, there's something wrong with me. So maybe I just when I find the right person, I'm going to like all this sex that I keep seeing on the telly and in adverts that everyone tells me is really good. And then you realise, oh, actually, it's just something. It's almost like not a lie, but it's almost like sex is more niche than we realise.
Yeah, I always think that like the promise of sex is way more exciting than actual sex. Like kissing and flirting and all that kind of stuff.
I agree with that.
It's like so much hotter.
I agree with that, and there's nothing. What tends to happen more often than not is bad sex. Yeah, there's more bad sex out there than good sex. Absolutely. Some men are really bad at sex.
Oh yeah.
There's a direct correlation between the amount a man works out and how bad he is at sex. Let me prove this to you with a statement. 50 Cent is bad in bed. Clearly. You only have to look at him in a music video.
Yeah.
He can't dance, he can't move, he's as stiff as a board, he looks like a fencing panel. He... Doesn't he? He's like a panel of it. We look at that guy, you think, okay face, you worked on your body, you're clean, but you're bad in bed.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go have sex with that man.
I think it's because they spend so much time working on that, then maybe they haven't worked on their sexual technique. Technically, I'm in an open relationship. So.
Are you? Do this bit of research for me. So just, if you're a musty guy, you're listening, you want to prove me wrong, hit Carmen up to an open relationship, just let me know.
Although I'm not, I don't know. It's weird because I'm not really... I don't really want to have sex with anyone else.
Oh,
and because
nice.
because now I've realised I don't really like sex, so now I only have sex for like intimacy.
Yeah.
And like for him, and because I get some kink with it. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not like, sorry,
sounds
to disappoint you with your experiment.
I know.
But like,
well, I'll find someone else, it's fine.
Yeah, it's... Does that make sense?
It sounds to
so
me
like having the option if I ever wanted to.
Yeah.
But actually...
It's like a cat wanting to walk out of an open door. The option's there.
Yeah.
They're just going to stare out the door. That's what they
exactly.
like doing. Like Brexit.
Yeah.
We like having the option of leaving, but we're just going to fuck
gonna
around
leave.
with the EU. Yeah. I mean, happy for you. Sounds like you're in a nice relationship, and you've got a big smile on your face, which is good. Thanks.
He's coming back today. I haven't seen him for about 4 weeks.
All right, then you're gonna be you're halfway out the door right now. You're off your stool. I'd love to meet him one day. He sounds fantastic.
Did you not meet him at the
show? Yes.
Athena's forgotten that she met my boyfriend.
Baby brain. All right, I've got baby brain. I'm gonna dine out on baby brain for the next 20 years. You think I've got a really bad memory. It's everyone who's quite close to me knows my memory.
I think when you're performing as well, you meet loads of people and then you kind of forget who you've met. And
That was like a month ago, wasn't it? Was it a month ago or a month before?
It was
2 months ago.
It was 2 months before because I didn't do the one in June. So
there you go, 2 whole months. I would like to watch you perform burlesque or maybe stand up. What's the best way to stay in touch?
If you just go to my website, carmenali.com, or on social media, on Twitter, I'm at Carmen Ali. On Instagram, I'm at Carmen Jean Ali, and burlesque at April Fiasco.
April Fiasco.
But if you find one of those things, you can find the rest of my things because they're all kind of linked together. On Twitter, I couldn't have April Fiasco because somebody's already taken it, and she's not a performer, and she hasn't tweeted for about 10 years or something.
Right.
And she lives in America, so I had to have Miss April Fiasco, which is so annoying.
Okay, that is annoying because what if you get married?
Well, I'm never getting married, so.
When you say that, you said your life's a fiasco. It sounds alright to me.
Oh, well, I came up with that name a long time ago.
Oh, okay, so things are dust to settle. April, things are going alright now. April, things are cool.
April, life is good.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Oh, thank you.
Thanks
Carmen
for
April for
having me on your podcast.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you. Say bye. Oh, well, that's how I speak.
She was talking to the baby, not me.
It's really bad. Oh, let me stop this. So that was Carmen Ali, who came to join me and keep my company. We properly chewed the fat there, didn't we? Got through the difference between kink and sex, the murdering impulses of Christopher Columbus, in Sweet Love to Cakes, and I even managed to slander muscly guys too. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed, do like, subscribe, share, do whatever you do, a podcast you like. Thanks again to Carmen Ali. You find her April Fiasco on Twitter, Instagram and all other social media type things, and I'll see you next time.